What can I do with these beautiful envelopes left over from the Advent calendar art by Marlene? Can I make an envelope junk journal? Welcome to the messy junk room where we create whatever. In 2023, I purchased the Stencil Advent Calendar by Art by Marlene to go with Defemember. Every day there was a new stencil in each of the envelopes. It came in this beautiful box, and inside was a tin box that held each of the envelopes and stencil. Bold, bright, and beautiful. What I thought I would do is cover the white flaps. But first, I have 2022 Advent calendar stuff that I've never used. I preferred the 2022 Advent calendar. It was bigger, you got to open up windows, and there was a variety of things in it, like this art journal, these little pads of paper, Art by Marlene, these words on chipboard. There was stamps and stencils and buttons, so many wonderful things. I thought, let's put it all together into this little project that I'm working on today. I love the bright colors, but I don't have any of this bright paper in my junk room. I might have to get some. But I thought, let's get some paint out. Maybe there's paint that will match these beautiful, bold, vibrant, vivacious colors in the Advent calendar envelopes and paper. So many treasures to be found in the Advent calendar of 2022. I can't wait to see what this year's Advent calendar is going to be. I've got them all in order. I've decided I'm going to use paint to cover the white flaps of the envelope and use one stencil per envelope. Now, I don't remember what envelope went with what stencil. I don't really think that matters, but I want to try to match up the paint colors to the envelopes. I get out a plexiglass plate block, whatever you want to call it, to put on my space here. And then I did find some bright colors. I don't have much left of these colors, but I thought they work perfectly with the envelopes. I'm going to use just a sponge, a makeup sponge, to put the paint on. I don't need a lot of paint, just a little dab will do as I choose what stencils are going to go with what envelopes. Not quite the width, but close enough that I think I can make it work. And now it's just playing with color and with dabbing the paint on. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm spreading out the colors of paint. I've decided to use the same paint twice with a different stencil, but I don't want the same color, let's say orange, that I'm using right now. I don't want it to show on day 2 and day 3 envelopes. I want it spread throughout the 25 days. And I'm trying to be very neat here. By the end, I'm not neat at all. What to do with that extra paint? I just grabbed a piece of junk mail envelope and I'm going to use that as my sponge off extra paint. I'm not liking the stark white that is left after I pull up the stencil, so I just dab very lightly the sponge over the white, and that really helped get rid of that stark white. some stencils I really, really liked, and then there's other stencils not so much. But this is my first play using all the stencils to see what I like and what I might use in other projects, and probably what I won't use at all, just the way they were designed. I just don't like the design, and that's okay. I still don't like that stark white, so I just bring the paint down. And then I just stop being so neat and mixed paints of white and red to make a softer pink. Then I got this purple out, and it's very, very liquidy, so I end up mixing it with some white paint to thicken it up. I didn't have black paint, put that on the list to get, but I got the ink out, and wait a minute, I have an extra stencil. How is that even possible? That math doesn't add up. 25 envelopes, 25 stencils. What? Maybe I used a stencil twice. I'm not sure. But here you can see the variety of colors from the envelope and the paint and the stencils. And I keep touching a few of them to make sure that they're dry so I can move on to what comes next. Beautiful. And then I put the envelopes in order. Not sure why I did this at this stage because it's not necessary yet. And there's a white envelope, but I think that's okay. I'll leave that for now. Now to move on to the cover. I didn't have a cereal box or cracker box. All that I had was this cardboard bottom of a pop case. Never used this material before. It should be interesting. I'm just measuring the height that I want. I don't want the cover to be in the shape of the envelope. I want the flaps to be free. So I just want the cover to go to where the flap folds down. So here I'm just measuring that out and drawing a line, making sure that I have enough of the cardboard to do front and back and a spine. So I got to get rid of these flaps so that I have a better piece to work with, just using my X-Acto knife. Then I find that line that I had made and cut my cover down. I'm just looking to see which piece was the one that I had marked because I can't find my mark lines. And I don't want any hangover of the cover. I want it to bump right up against the edge of the envelope. So I was just measuring there to make sure that there was no overhang. Not for this junk journal. I'm using the lines on my cutting mat to help me cut a straight line. You would think that would help. I don't think I'll ever be able to draw a straight line in this messy junk room, but I do the best I can. So I'm putting the covers together with the envelopes, and now to decide how wide to make the spine. I always struggle with this part because I want enough room for it to grow a little bit, but I don't want a huge spine. This actually looks like a house. Junk journal. So again, I'm just going to line it up, and I am going to double check. Measure or double check twice before you cut, because if you only have one piece and you cut it the wrong size, you're plumb out of luck. So I think I've got it. I'm going to cut and we'll see what happens. I do have an extra piece that I cut away just in case I need to redo this whole spine. At this point, I don't know. You'll have to come back to find out. Now I need to just cut the spine down to the height. And again, I want it all flushed to those envelopes. Perfect squares they are. And already this is not looking straight, but it's straight-ish or straight enough. Could just be my eyes. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Now what? How do I cover this cover? What is the material? Well, I've got this wallpaper scrap that I thought, I'm going to try and use this and see what happens. So I'm lining it all up. I've got to make sure I leave a space between the two sides for the spine so that the cover can fold up on each side. Again, these are supposed to be perfect squares, not turning out to be so perfectly square. And it throws me off and I keep checking it to make sure. Do I have it the right way? I think so, but it doesn't look so. But I carry on because this is a junk journal and we don't need to be perfect. And this is a place that is safe to let go of perfection. So I just cut it out. I also cut out another piece for the front and the back. This is just the base of the cover. I end up covering this up. Now to make sure it sticks well, I'm going to use my Mod Podge version. And it is a mix of glue and water. And I keep it in this container and I just keep filling it up. I can't give you measurements because I just eyeball it to the consistency I like. But I want to make sure I get out to the sides. And then to make sure it's extra secure, I'm going to use my favorite glue stick, Yoo-hoo, to help adhere it. And hopefully it's not going to go anywhere by the time I'm done. Do the same thing for the spine, where I'm putting the glue on the wallpaper. Then the glue. How much space do you leave between the spine and the front cover? I don't know. I'm just eyeballing it, keeping my fingers crossed that I've left enough space. As long as it can fold up and not interfere with your signatures, the pages that you put into it, I think it's okay. But you don't want a big space because then it'll be all flappy. And for this junk journal, I don't want flappy. Again, I double check and keep going. Everything's looking good so far. Now I'm going to make sure that those flaps come up. The front cover. I get my other piece, and this time I'm going to use the Yoo-hoo glue first on the cardboard. Trying to get those edges. And then I'm going to put the wet glue directly onto the wallpaper, kind of reversed what I did before. So I'm just going to put it on, line it up, and then I need to get that wallpaper connecting to the glue in between the spine and the covers. So far it's going to close well, but I'm going to take the bone folder and really work in the wallpaper and the glue into those crevices. I really like this wallpaper. And then I turn it around inside out and do those crevices again, because I don't know which way it's going to go at this point. I just want to make sure that everything is well attached. Looks good, but let's get the roller out and just put a little bit of pressure and roll my roller brayer over the cover inside and out, just for extra pressure and making sure things connect. It's looking good. I grabbed this piece of napkin. It's the only bright, bold colors that I have in this junk room. Even my material are not bold colors. And I only have one piece of this, so I cut it in half, and I'm putting the first half on the front cover using my Mod Podge again. And I'm going to make sure I get to the edges and in the crevices of the spine. And then I'm going to start drying it with my heat gun just to add it. It's going to take a while to dry. And then I'm thinking I'm going to do the other side the same, but you'll have to come back to find out. And I think this is looking good. Don't forget to subscribe, give a thumbs up, and also check that bell, drop down and click on all so you won't miss a video. I post every Sunday. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.